Well, the Alberta government is ordering striking teachers back to work. The province announced the Back to School Act on its website just a short time ago. 51,000 teachers and 750,000 students across the province have been out of the classroom since October the 6th. CBC Sam Sampson is tracking the story for us, and she joins us now. So, Sam, tell us more about the government's move today.
Well, it doesn't come as a full surprise. Last week, during a couple of news conferences, the Premier, Danielle Smith, did say if she didn't see teachers back in classrooms by October 27th, then her province would be legislating back to work laws. And so they're making good on that promise. And we know that because, as you mentioned, it's on their website. And then we just heard from the Premier moments ago that, yes, the government will be filing that legislation on Monday. So we could see teachers back to school as soon as next week. And to recap, it's been almost 3 full school weeks without students in the classroom across Alberta, 51,000 teachers, 750,000 students who have been figuring out what to do necessarily while they're not in classes. And it has taken a huge toll, not only on teachers, but on students and on families here in the province. Another piece of note here, the government's plan is to give itself a couple of tools to really expedite this, to really move that bill as fast as possible through the legislature so that it can become law and then get those students and teachers back into the classroom. So as I mentioned, after 3 full weeks of this, it could be a pretty quick turnaround. We could see teachers back in class as early as next week.
Well, you said it's not necessarily surprising that the government made this move. I imagine how the teachers are reacting is not a surprise either. What are you hearing from them?
Well, yeah, exactly. You nailed it. They're not exactly happy. What they did say, though, was, yes, we anticipated, in a statement, they said, we anticipated that this legislation would be coming. Because as I mentioned, the Premier wasn't shy about it, saying that last week. However, the Alberta Teachers Association, so that's the union for all these teachers, is saying we've got to see what this looks like first to know exactly how it's going to affect teachers. Here are some of the key issues that the province and the union could just not agree on. We're talking salaries, and we're also talking, such as the case in so many different provinces and territories, classroom sizes, that teacher to student ratio. They just could not come to an agreement for months. And of course, that's what's led to this strike and current lockout. Again, just moments ago, the Premier was saying that she believes that the offer was fair, that her province has given to the union. And she says she's, quote, mystified by the union and the fact that they cannot come to an agreement here. She says the province does believe in a fair bargaining process, but she's used this phrase a couple of times over the past few days. Once we get to a point of irreparable harm for students specifically, that's when it's time for the province to step in. So even though teachers may not be exactly thrilled about this and they're waiting to hear more, that is what the Premier and the province's stance is. To give you a sense of how students are feeling, I spoke with several students last week, and particularly the older students, so grade 11, grade 12, it's a really mixed bag. I spoke with one student who's based here in Edmonton, and she's a grade 11 student. She described it as a lose-lose situation because she says, or they say rather, sure, it's great that the teachers are fighting for fewer students in the classroom because it's affecting their learning. However, now they're losing out on valuable study time for exams, whether they're coming up next month or even in January, they're concerned about it. And also, as a grade 12 student, I'm hearing, where's the fun in our last year of high school? So this is a group of students, remember, who had to make changes because of the pandemic. And now they were kind of banking on a fun time at the end of grade 12. And now there's just some extra stress added in. Of course, for parents, it's forced many parents of younger people, younger students, to find emergency daycare, emergency childcare situations. And for teachers, they've gone without strike pay for 3 weeks now, the regular pay and no strike pay. So this is all affecting things, and we will keep an eye on it as it develops.
Okay, CBC Sam Sampson in Edmonton. Thank you, Sam.